Just starting with the power switch, they get things right. This is an actual metal clunk toggle switch. And let me take a minute to complain about something that most consumer electronics gets wrong and Pro Gear tends to get right. Starting mostly in the 90s, consumer electronics all started getting these push-button power switches, and almost everything has one now. Televisions, monitors, pretty much all portable electronics, lights, speaker systems, you name it. You have to push a button to turn them on, and then you usually have to press and hold it to turn them off. These things are ergonomic and UI dumpster fires. They usually don't tell you whether something is on or off by the position or appearance of the switch, and you have to stand there for multiple seconds holding the button to get things to shut off. I've been given several excuses for these things' existence, none of which really hold water. Mostly it's things about how modern computer-based devices have to have time to shut themselves down gracefully, or that they need to be able to go into energy-saving standby mode. That's nonsense though, because there's plenty of modern devices that do just fine. These brand new Bluetooth headphones, for instance, when I turn them on, if they sit and idle for a few hours, they'll shut themselves back off, and I just flip the switch twice to turn it back on. And when I go to turn it off, it doesn't just shut off, it takes a few seconds, says it's shutting down, does whatever it has to do, because it's just a pin talking to the microprocessor in there. It's not actually cutting off the power. Likewise, with this guy here, if I put a tape in, it'll start pulling it in, and if I cut the power, it'll just spit the tape back out. Obviously, I don't want to use it if I just turned it off, so it doesn't finish pulling the tape in, but it doesn't kill the power. It just tells the computer that I want to turn this thing off when practical. See, a push button doesn't store any state. When you press a push button, the computer has to be paying attention to notice that you pressed it. And then if it isn't a good time for the computer to shut down, what's it supposed to do? It can't shut off immediately, but once you let go of the button, it doesn't know what you want anymore. So it has two options. It can either remember that you pressed the button, in which case there is a pending shutdown request that you can't see and you don't know if it's going to be executed, or it can forget that you pressed the button, and then you're going to have to stand there, wait until it's ready to shut down and press it again, or press and hold it to tell it, no, I really want to shut down right now. Either way, you are stuck babysitting a computer. These things are supposed to serve us, not make us serve them. A toggle switch, on the other hand, stores data, 1 bit, your intent, whether you want the device on or off. And once I flip the switch on, the computer knows that I want it to be on. Now, it'll decide whether it needs to turn off at some point, but if it ever asks the question, does the user want me to be on right now? The answer is right there at all times. When I flip this switch off, I know that eventually this is going to power down. I don't need to stick around and keep an eye on it. And it's a little thing, but I love that all of my pro video gear has a toggle switch like this. All my camcorders, all my video decks, and this guy here. It's so petty, but every single thing with a push button irritates me.